Welcome back to the program. Mr. Debo Adeniro of the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership is still in the studio. Going back to Mozambique, talking about what the president said, reading the Riot Act, essentially to warning corrupt ministers, officials that they will be fired if prosecuted. What do you think? More words? Will this deter their action? That is the flip side of what is happening in South Africa. In South Africa, the president is the corrupt one, facing about 800 charges, or were alleged, okay, as they say. But in Mozambique, it's just like the gentleman knows his onions, and he doesn't want to join the rest of Africa in the game of primitive accumulation. And as a matter of fact, it's unnecessary. And because he knows that being the head of government, he's the chief accounting officer of the country, and if any of the minister or head of MDAs that we have in Nigeria should commit any offense of corruption, of other grievous crimes, it is his regime that will answer for it. How effective has the leadership in the African continent been tackling corruption? It has not been effective because the leaders themselves are neck deep in the cesspit of corruption. So that is why we need revolutionary leaders. You know, either told there have been several attempts to revolutionize governance in Africa, but those attempts have been thwarted. Okay, if you remember what happened sometime when we even have Murtala Mohammed here, he was caught down on time. Thomas Sankara tried to do it. He was cut down in his prime. Then you have just now when we have this guy in Mozambique, maybe if the politicians in those countries, the criminals in the countries are not as mean as they are in Burkina Faso, in Liberia, in other places where attempt to revolutionize governance has been thwarted. Now we have a Buhari in Nigeria that we expect that is going to do so much in curbing corruption, but he has a myriad of those who will not want the fight to succeed around him. So there's nothing he can do among those people because he cannot do government alone. So it has not been effective. It is ordinary African people that are that have common, mystery, common agony that they are facing, that will fight the fight for themselves. Right. They will unite themselves, they should organize themselves, and insist that their leaders should ensure adequate punishment for their leaders that has pillaged the resources of their country. Thank you so much, Mr. Debo Adeniro, Executive Chairman for the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, for coming on the program. And let's go over to Togo, where fresh protests broke last night after an imam was arrested. This is in the second biggest city, Sarkodie. Now, news of the imam's arrest spread on social media, and protesters quickly started demanding his release, putting up barricades and burning tires on the main national road. However, it is not clear why Alpha Al-Hassan, who is close to opposition leader Tipil Achadam, was arrested. Opposition parties have held mass protests in Togo to demand an end to President Faure Gnassingbé's rule, saying they have had enough of the Gnassingbé dynasty, which has been in power for the last 50 years. Mr. Gnassingbé became president in 2005 after the death of his father, Gnassingbé Adama, who had been at the helm of power for 38 years. Kenya's High Court has temporarily lifted the government ban on protests against the Electoral Commission. The opposition National Super Alliance, NASA, had already called off today's demonstrations against the Electoral Commission to allow its leaders visit the victims of alleged police brutality across the country. The party has accused police for using excessive force against protesters, an allegation Kenyan authorities deny. Protests broke out after the disputed August election won by President Uhuru Kenyatta, in which the Supreme Court ruled that it was marred by irregularities. NASA's leader says he will boycott the rerun scheduled for next week because his demands for electoral reforms have not been met. Zimbabwe's government has decided to ban the importation of horticultural products, including fruits and vegetables, in order to save foreign currency and to promote the sector's growth. The Minister for Agriculture, Joseph Made said President Robert Mugabe had ordered him to quickly stop the imports and the foreign currency being wasted on the importation of carrots and grapes to now be utilized towards the purchase of more fertilizers and pesticides. He says the government also wants to increase rice production because it has become a very important source of starch. The Democratic Republic of Congo is among 15 countries elected to the United Nations Human Rights Council for a 3-year term, a move criticized by Britain, the United States and rights groups after the vote by the 193-member General Assembly. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, who has called for the Human Rights Council votes to be competitive, says Congo's election to the body harmed its credibility. The country, beset by renewed political and militia violence as President Joseph Kabila refused to step down in December, won 151 votes. Angola, Senegal, Slovakia, Ukraine, Chile, Mexico, Peru, Afghanistan, Nepal, Pakistan, Australia and Spain were also elected to the body, while Nigeria and Qatar won second terms. Their terms start on the 1st of January 2018. The new UN envoy for the disputed territory of Western Sahara is visiting the region to assess the possibility of restarting peace talks between Morocco and the pro-independence Polisario Front. Reports say Horst Köhler, a former German president, met with the Moroccan Foreign Minister Nasser Bourita in Rabat. Well, later in the week, he is expected to travel to Tindouf region of Algeria, where he'll meet Polisario's officials and some of the refugees living there. Morocco annexed Western Sahara, a former Spanish colony, in 1975, prompting an insurgency which lasted until a UN-brokered ceasefire in 1991. And that's Network Africa at this time. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker.
The Channels 24 app